Welcome back to the Mid-Year Mitch YouTube channel. In today's episode, we're kicking off the body assembly on the 63 convertible. We're installing the Firewall bonding strips, the firewall, the floor, and the rocker channels, so be sure to stick around. So now I'm going to start assembling the body on this 63. So the first step is to install the bonding strips that go on the windshield. After that, we can install the firewall to the front, and we can work on getting the floor installed. So I'm working on removing the old bonding strips. They're pretty well broken up. So I just need to finish removing all these pieces, grind all this down so it's nice fiberglass to bond to. I have the new bonding strips here that bond the firewall to the birdcage. So I need to rivet these onto the birdcage and then clean up this seam as well, because this is what attaches to the front of the floor. I removed the excess bonding adhesive off this bond line here for the floor, and then up here for where the firewall mounts to the car. And this sealant hardened up nice, so I'll go ahead, clean up the excess here. I put a little bit of sealant in here to, cure between the birdcage and the bonding strip to seal it up so water doesn't get in between here and rust out the cage again. So now I'll go through, scuff all the fiberglass up to get it ready to bond, and then we'll go ahead and bond the firewall to this bonding strip. The nice thing is this firewall came off the car, so all these holes for the rivets should line right up, so this firewall should go exactly where it was when it was installed originally. So I have the firewall glued on, put the glue in this joint here between the bonding strip and the firewall, got everything clamped up. I put in the bolts that go here to hold it to the hinge pillar. I also put a bolt in the body mount hole just to keep everything lined up, and put a shim in here like it says to do in the assembly manual. And then I ran all the solid rivets down here to get everything locked down nice and tight. So now this thing just has to cure up. While I wait for that, I'm gonna go ahead and finish removing the bonding adhesive off the floor pan in the area for the rocker. I already prepped the area for where it bonds to the firewall. I'll work on that. If I feel frisky, maybe I'll start removing the bonding adhesive that went around for the rear deck and quarters. And then I'm also going to rough the rockers up. These are new ones from Stinger Fiberglass. I just want to rough them up to give them something to bite into. So now with the birdcage sitting on top of the floor with the Firewall mounted on it, it kind of looks a little bit like a car if you squint. So the Firewall should be pretty well cured up. I'll let this sit overnight, but now I want to work on bonding the floor to the Firewall at this joint through here. And like I said, these two pieces came off of each other, so the fit up is, it's perfect. So the nice thing is this already has the holes punched in it, so I should be able to line these guys up, run bolts through those to pull this tight, put a couple clamps through here. I can squeeze clamps in all those areas, so hopefully I don't have to run any screws through here. That'll save me some body work and, prevent a potential for one of those to come back in the future. So then in here I'm going to install the rockers tomorrow, but a key point I wanted to mention is to make sure that you have the birdcage shimmed up properly, the floor shimmed up properly, and that everything is lining up in the body mount holes, which you can see this one, I just need to pull that around just a little bit, but those ones are lining up. I have bolts in there. I should be able to get a bolt started in here, and in the rear body mount I have the bolt started as well, which I'll snug this down before I pull the birdcage off to make sure this is in the right place. But in 63 they used shims, so I have 3 shims in every position to start off. So 3, 3, and 3. So then I'll tighten the back, rear clip down, and then pick up the birdcage and just a little bit, just have it hover. I'll roll the chassis backwards. That way I can get adhesive, in this joint here. Pull it back forward, set it back down, make sure it's locked in place. So that way, the birdcage isn't too far forward or backwards relative to all the body mounts. So that way this thing will be dialed right in. So I have both the driver and passenger side rockers mocked up in place, and just like you've seen in the past, I've had to make this little pie cut back here to make some more clearance, just to let this thing sit against the floor. Same thing in the front, had to modify it, trim a little bit here to get this to fit inside this little recess here. But I also, when I mock it up, I also drill holes and put self-tapper screws where rivets will go later, but that way it'll help it sink down in place. So now I'm going to pull this thing out, probably first trace a line in here so I know pretty much where my adhesive is going to live. Take this out, I have to rough up the underside, mix up my adhesive, spread it, throw this one down, and then do the same thing on that side. I have both the driver and passenger side rocker panels bonded into the floor and to the firewall, so all that's nice and solid. I can take all the screws out, and eventually I'll do the finish work to remove, some of the extra overhanging adhesive. But now it's time to work on the rear half of the car. So now I'd like to put the doors back on it. With the door jamb fiberglass, I need to remove some extra pieces of fiberglass that are still on these. Then I can mock up the rear deck on here. I need to remove this part of the rear deck from this cross member. I need to fix the deck lid hinges, get those installed, and then also do a mock-up with quarter panels and the taillight panel. So I think now I'll just put this rear deck on here just to see what it looks like. But that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you've noticed, you know, the car looks a little different than it did whenever I ended the video off. I'm about a week or two behind recording videos, so this thing is coming along very quickly. There's a lot of body assembly coming up, some tech tips, and some other good videos that you're not going to want to miss. So make sure you check all of those out. And as you can see, I have a lot of work to do, so I'll catch you guys later.